In 1860, the United States was crumbling apart. The divide was obvious. This country was no longer united. But what started this? The terrible institution of slavery is one answer. But the practice of enslaving African Americans had been going on since the U.S. began. So how did the controversy over slavery escalate into a civil war? Let's go back a few years to 1848. The United States had just acquired Mexico's northern lands through war. The question quickly became, should slavery be allowed in these new lands? Both sides argued, slavery needs land to expand. Freedom should ring in the West. The truth was, both sides wanted new states to increase their power in Congress. A compromise was made to end the debate. The Compromise of 1850 welcomed California as a free state, while people in other Western lands would vote to decide on the issue of slavery in their state. But the slave states were also given a prize, the Fugitive Slave Act. Escaped slaves would never be safe, even in free states up north. Slavery was forced upon people of free states as they were required by law to help capture runaway slaves. Many who had ignored slavery in the past became furious. More people began to give speeches and write stories to explain the horrors of slavery. Harriet Beecher Stowe's Uncle Tom's Cabin vividly portrayed slavery and became the most read book in the North. A fuse was lit. A few years later, the Western Territory of Kansas voted, free or slave state. People from the North and South moved to Kansas in order to swing the vote their way. Over 200 Americans were killed in the violence that became known as Bleeding Kansas. Americans were now willing to kill each other over slavery. There was one man who did not stop after Bleeding Kansas. John Brown made it his life's mission to punish those who supported slavery. In 1859, at Harper's Ferry, Virginia, Brown and his men overtook a U.S. arsenal to give weapons to slaves. His plan failed. He was captured and executed for treason. John Brown was demonized in the South, but declared a martyr in the North. Unity was gone. The last straw was the election of Abraham Lincoln in 1860. The Republican president was openly against slavery, but never intended to abolish it. It didn't matter. Southern states had had enough. 11 slave states seceded from the Union to form the Confederate States of America. For the North, this wouldn't stand. Civil war was soon to follow.